If you want to understand the connection between the human and the machine, there's nowhere else to look other than racing. This is really the pinnacle of human performance, coupled with a machine that we deal with, most of us, on a daily basis. And I think you're hard-pressed to find another example of a task that really represents, on one hand, the pinnacle of human achievement and performance, and a machine that we use in our daily lives. Now, I will point out a personal bias here that in fact, I tend to think that the answer to anything can be found in racing. When I'm not actually teaching at Stanford, I'm also a race car owner, a crew chief, and a driving coach. Maybe not on the level you're expecting. Maybe not on the level that many of you in the audience have done. But enough to understand that there's a big difference sometimes between theory and what happens when the rubber meets the road. And also, I can give talks in front of large audiences, and that's fine. But when your 10-year-old looks up at you and says, "Dad, the car needs more speed," that's when you figure out if you actually know anything about this. Now, if you're not convinced, as I am, that in fact racing is really where we need to look for issues that are important to the car of the future, I'd like to spend the rest of the talk describing two projects which will hopefully convince you of the importance of this. And the first part of this is really going to talk about instrumenting vintage race cars. And this is what we're doing with our Revs program at Stanford and connecting with the Revs Institute here in Naples. The other thing I'm going to talk about is building a robotic race car, an Audi TTS that we've developed that is in fact capable of racing at the limits of the car's performance without a driver. So this was actually after some very initial testing, after we only had the car for about 2 weeks. And so that's where we were for testing. That was basically all the shelter that we had out on the salt flats, which was fine until the rain kicked in. Okay, and this is the first time, literally, that we ever sent it out without anybody in there at all. So we got up to 129, 130 miles an hour, at least, fully autonomous. There was absolutely nobody in the car as we ascended the hill climb route.